Welcome back everyone. For today's video, I'm gonna show you some of the strategy that I apply in the first classical tournament I ever played. And there were some factors outside of my control that I didn't enjoy. For example, there were no clocks. I had to buy my own clock. This was a FIDE tournament. Jose was there. The chairs were really crappy. There was no pens. Okay, the pens doesn't really matter. But okay, so there were outside factors that I wasn't really happy with. I wasn't really I am not a complainer. I'm just commenting on what really happened. So here, let's go with this first game. I'm playing white, and people have asked me which openings do you play. Okay, in this one I play the English. I can also play d4, e4, but in this tournament I decided to play c4, the English opening, which has a lot of flexibility, and you're gonna go in for a strategic battle. So we get knight f6, knight c3, g6, d4, bishop g7, g3, with the purpose of fianchetting the bishop. Okay, now d6. This move has to be played pretty much in every kind of a structure where you fianchetted the bishop with the rook here and the knight. So this has been played before many times. And I went with this move, bishop g5, just to provoke h6. And then I knew I was gonna go back. So everything is perfect here. Knight f to d7. I knew intuitively this was a mistake. And the computer is showing an inaccuracy, but it's really weird. Where is this knight going? I guess you have some ideas of playing c5 or e5, but now this knight is also stuck. So it's gonna be really awkward to play. Knight f3. Okay, knight c6, castle, knight takes on d4. It looks like I'm hanging my pawn here, right? Because he can be taken twice, but not really. I was calculating that after bishop takes, now I can take back this pawn. That is exactly what happened in the game. So knight takes, bishop takes the knight, and now I can take this pawn. And so the question is really, what is more important, the central pawn or the pawn around the king, right? It's not that easy to answer, but I was really happy here. I'm trading bishops, and now I can get in with the queen. I don't even have to go for this move, but yeah, I still have it available. So I decided instead to put pressure on this pawn, right? I'm putting pressure here, bishop and queen, so they have to move. Okay, they decided to go with the knight. Yeah, I just get my queen out of the way. So c6, we get c6. Now I can push b4, kicking out the knight. Knight a6, and this knight is really awkward. It's the same knight that was really awkward here. Now it is on the green. So it's gonna be really it's just unpleasant to play in this position. Bishop e6. Now I push the pawn. Knight c7. Okay, and I think I now might have a slight advantage just because I will be up a pawn. So after this, I am up a pawn. Rook has to be played here on b8, and I don't even have to move my queen, right? Because I have this discover check, and I get in with my knight. So this is a discover check, and now this is also not possible. So yeah, king g8. And the game is going to fizzle out into a draw. I think I misplayed this middle game, so I shouldn't have put my bishop here. Instead, this was a mistake. Bishop d5. Let me check out really quickly. Oh, instead I should have played a4. So I missed this advantage, but it doesn't matter because the game, as we didn't have clocks, it went on for 4 hours. It went on for 4 hours. And I asked the arbiter, hey, can you give us some clocks? Because we're not deciding here we're not deciding the winner. So we got down to this endgame. I have a pass pawn, right? So let's just go back here. I think I went a bit too quickly. I was like, okay, let's just choose an endgame. I'm gonna have an advantage here, 2 versus 1. And this is going to be a backward pawn. So I think I have an advantage. I am playing for a win. What happened next was I offered my opponent a draw. Let me see where it was. Yeah, pretty much in this move. I figured that I could not make much progress with my pieces because as long as the knight, as the king stays in this rank, I could not really push this pawn, right? That would be a problem because I would not have a space for my rook to give a check. For example, if the king was here, maybe I can have some space. I offered my opponent the draw 3 times. He didn't want it, and he ended up blundering. I think he blundered with king e7. Let me just show you a variation where I had an advantage on the position. I can also get my king in. I traded rooks, so now I can gobble up the rest of the pawns. But my opponent should have taken the draw when he could, because it was a dead draw at a certain point. There was no way I can advance my pawn. And he is not, I mean, he's not really playing for a win. It's 3 versus 3 on this side of the board. And he has to defend this passed pawn. So just get familiar with endgames. If the opponent offers you a draw in this position, you take it. You absolutely take it. I see this mistake happening all the time. People try too hard to win. It happened to me as well. In this one, it happened to my opponent. So I played the Caro-Can. I just wanted to play solid and at least don't lose with blank. I also had really good chances. In this one, it got really interesting. So we get this structure, knight f6, d4, knight c6, c3, bishop b5. Okay, just developing pieces. Now I attack this queen, this bishop. I was also thinking about going for this line where I try to put pressure here on this knight, but now I can get hit with this bishop, and I have to calculate. So I didn't want to do that. That's why I play queen b6, and everything is good. Queen b3. Okay. Now I think the minute you get into trading this bishop, trading this pawn, not this bishop, into trading this pawn, the c pawn, you get your rook into this file. Okay, this is a strategy, like a long time strategy. You want to do that all the time. Okay, you see that the c pawn is traded. How can I get my rook here? So this is a strategy I want to share with you. You can never lose, at least, but you will have an advantage because now you're gonna use this file, the c file. Very important. So now we get this piece traded. Notice how this queen went from here, then queen b3, and then back. Okay, so what are we doing with the queen? And then back again, queen a4. My opponent went a bit crazy with this queen, so it's fine. I think he was trying to look for something here. I can never move my knight, but there is nothing here. You need more pieces into the attack. You cannot attack with just the knight and the queen. So okay, his idea here is attacking and like maybe even going after this pawn, right? Maybe the point is, okay, I'm gonna bring the bishop here or even the knight, but the bishop is more powerful. The bishop can come in here, trade knights, and now he also might have some tactics. So prophylactic move, h6. h6 looks, and it's also an inaccuracy. The computer wants me to do something else, but I don't care because now how is he gonna get any progress in this position if he cannot land his pieces on this square? So he actually sacrificed a piece, right? Okay, the queen again, moving the queen again. Bishop c5, attacking the queen, and now I go for g5. It was kind of aggressive move. It's also a mistake, but at the end, he goes for this. He goes for this sacrifice with the idea of, okay, I'm gonna target this knight. So for example, the problem is, let's say I do something really slow. I takes. Now he can also fork. He can also fork my queen, and I lose the game. Right? I think that was the whole idea. That was the whole idea behind this sacrifice. But it just doesn't work. I have ways to defend. For example, rook c7. Rook c7 is not even the best move in the position, but I can still defend. And this bishop is still really powerful. So I think the next lesson to be learned from this one is, okay, the minute you can get rid of the most powerful piece, do it. Don't even hesitate about it. So here I get bishop d6, g4. So my bishop is hanging. Some people saw the video on billionaire moves, right? It looks like I have to move this bishop, but the minute I move it, now I get just crushed, right? I get crushed in this position. I don't have to move. I can get my rook to g8. The computer is showing this is a brilliant move. So I am ignoring this threat on the bishop. And now you can never take, because now this will be open, right? This open file. Okay, so king moves, king has to move. Now I get rid of the bishop. There's no brainer, because now once he takes, I also come, this one comes with check, and I am completely winning. So I think he was trying too hard. He was trying too hard with this queen moving around and trying to get in and squeezing the position, sacrificing pieces. Yeah, normally a sacrifice is not gonna work, especially with so many pieces on the board. I have 5 pieces, at least I have more defenders. I have a lot of defenders in this position, and I can even give the piece back. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna give the piece back, the most important piece in the position. Let's get rid of it. And yeah, moves later, he resigned. Oh no, he didn't resign. It was checkmate. But this is just completely lost. It's completely lost because he's losing the piece. I can also move my bishop, and the king is very unsafe. So yeah. Okay, so I think the next lesson for me was fly or play within your ability. Pilots, they only fly within their ability. They shouldn't risk too much. So this was the case in my game. I also went for the English opening: c4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3. Okay, challenging this pawn. And pushing is a mistake, but he went for that. He went for e4. So I can easily take this pawn. I can just play knight g5. He went for c6. So I take the pawn. He takes the knight. I take the knight. And now he challenges this. So I just take. C takes. And now I have an advantage. So he went for bishop e7, really passive. Then d4, okay, bishop e6 again. What are these two bishops doing? Now bishop f4. I think this is completely fine, just to be clear. But I was hesitating about what is my overall plan, because in many queen's gambit structures, you don't put your bishop here. You save this bishop, and instead you play e3, and then you play on this side of the board, right? You play on the queen side. So I was thinking, okay, yeah, I'm gonna play on the queen side. I'm gonna play bishop f4, put pressure here on this side of the board. But I didn't know what to do with this bishop, which is completely fine, by the way. But it was, it was just unfamiliar. I was very unfamiliar with these plans. Now we get e3, knight c6, queen b3, knight to a5. And my second mistake was not getting rid of this knight on time. So h5, h3, rook c8. So I have to play h3 here, just because the purpose of h5 is to trap my bishop, right? He might have ideas later of going g5. So h3, rook c8, bishop e2, b5. So now this is a risk, right? He wants to play b4, trap my knight, and it's pin. There is a pin here to my queen. Okay, a3, knight c4, and I should have taken here. I don't know what I was thinking at the time. So castle, g5. Now I have to make a decision. I think this is perfectly fine, but I was just scared. I was scared about this sacrifice. If they take here, now the rook is coming. I was just terrified of this, to be honest. I could not process the information. That's why I was saying that this bishop was really awkward for me to put it there. So, but it was fine, by the way. Okay, g5. Now I make this mistake. I was like, okay, he's attacking my bishop. I'm gonna attack his knight with b3. But I missed this tactic. He can just take this pawn on a3. And now my queen is hanging. This one is also coming. This pawn is coming. So I am in a lot of trouble. So, okay, I decided to takes. And the position fell apart. Also, my bishop is hanging now. So my position fell apart. I lost the game fair and square. So yeah, that was just terrible decision making. And maybe the first mistake was, okay, getting not familiarity with this bishop here on f4. A second, yeah, just get rid of this knight. this one doesn't give me an advantage, but at least I'm not losing. And now if he plays this g5, now I can also have some tactics. I also missed the tactic here. There was at some point a tactic where he pushes the g pawn. Yeah, I think at some point here I can play something like bishop e5. If he pushes this pawn, I have tactics here, but it wasn't. I didn't see the continuation, right? Because he has this move, this defensive move, so it was hard to see. But anyway, so let's go with the next one. This was a wild game. This was the most unpredictable game I had. I am not proud of it, but still there's lessons to be learned. The most valuable lesson is trade when you're ahead, and I'm gonna give you the specific time. So I also play c4, the English knight f6. Give me a second here. Okay, g3, bishop b4, giving a check, so I have to defend. Knight c3. He takes the knight and doubling up my pawns. So this is completely fine. Castle, bishop g2, d6, rook b1. Okay, putting pressure on this. I delay development, so that wasn't very convenient, but it was still fine. It was really playable. c6, e3, queen a5. Okay, targeting the pawn. So I have to defend the pawn. Queen b3, e5. Now d5, which I took a long time. I took a long time to decide d5. It was okay. It wasn't the best move. So bishop b5. Now hitting my rook. So I have to move the rook. Rook b2, knight b2 d7. Now queen b4. I have to make a decision here. Now I'm a bit concerned with this. So if the knight occupies this square, c5, I have to move my queen. And now he has this space, right? d3. So I have to prevent that. And to me, one of the smartest or the best ways to defend it, it's just like play solid. Let's just play solid because I cannot really find a good square for my queen. Maybe I can go back, but okay. So I decided to offer this trade of queens, and my pawn is defended. Everything is fine here. So he decides to go queen c5, right? With the same idea. If I take, he also has again this square available forking my rook. So I don't trade here. I go knight e2. Okay, now I can protect my pawn. I have this tempo. He goes a5, rushing this trade of queens. But now I was like, this pawn is hanging. I'm gonna take it. I don't even care. So c takes on d5. C takes on d5. Rook f8. And now I can easily just play queen c6. And this rook is not hanging. It's protected by my bishop. So rook c8. Okay, I trade queens. Knight takes. And he has the same idea. But now I can castle. I figured that I can castle because if he plays this, I can move my rook. Okay, knight e4. This was really annoying because now he's threatening to win this pawn. It's only defended once and he's attacking it twice. I have to make a decision. I went for this calculation. Really just uncomfortable. So I play, okay, I'm gonna go rook b3. But now he has this move, bishop c2. So what do I do? Like I put my rook here, it's gonna be really passive. I don't wanna do that. And for a second I thought this was a good move. So after bishop c2, I was like, okay, I'm gonna play rook b5. And if he tries to what is the line I was calculating? Oh, if he takes the pawn, yeah, of course, sorry. If he takes the pawn, I take. Okay, he takes back. But now I'm gonna recover this pawn, right? That was like, okay, he has to move the rook or something, and I can maybe take here, or he has to, let's say he moves the rook there. I can recover this pawn. Yeah, but I didn't see the tactic. I didn't see tactics here. Alignment of the pieces, the most simple tactic here. So he's hitting my rook, he's hitting my knight, and I was like, this is no, okay, I have to move my rook. I lost my knight, but this isn't over. I don't resign. The lesson to be learned here for my opponent, it's not even for me, but for my opponent is don't try to do anything fancy. Here he's up a piece. He's up a full piece. Why don't you simplify and trade rooks? He did this weird thing with the knight, putting it like in a really passive square. I was like, what is he doing? I would just trade here, not even a question. I would just trade rooks. My If I don't take this rook, my bishop is hanging. I have to absolutely take this rook, and the game is over. Like there is no way I can do anything with this disadvantage. But okay, I went all the way back. Give me a second here. Bishop c2. So okay, let's go over here. Okay, the knight is here. And I saw this move. I think I should have made this move earlier, where I put pressure on this rook by playing bishop h3. Bishop h3. Now he takes the pawn, thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna attack the rook. But I have tactics here. I have tactics. Also, feel free to pause the video and win this game for me. So the tactic here is, okay, I cannot really take this rook, right? Because he can just take the knight, and now I just don't have an advantage. I can take here, but I am also down the piece. No, there is something better. There is something much better, which I saw immediately. But it took me a little bit of calculation. So I have to take this knight, this bishop, which is defending the rook. And he has to absolutely take. I mean, he can also move it, I guess. He can move it somewhere. But now I take this, and he takes. Okay, we have like about an equal position. He didn't even go for this line. So after bishop, wait, the rook takes. Yeah, after rook takes, he takes the rook, and now I take the rook on the back rank, and this is also hit, right? So now choosing the endgame again, choosing the endgame. Two bishops versus two knights, and this knight is really passive. And rook, yeah, I would prefer all the time playing with the two bishops, especially in this open game. So I have a lot of space for my bishops. Now just go back and knight f6, and he takes this pawn, which I was like, whoa. Yeah, I cannot take because now I just lose my bishop. So okay, that wouldn't really be a smart option. Then I was like, okay, I can take this pawn. So yeah, he took back, and now I can take this knight. And bishop and rook versus bishop and knight endgame is really a drawish with perfect play. But yeah, it's difficult to play in practical terms, right? So some moves later, he resigned. I took these two pawns on the side of the board, and now I also went for the other pawn, and my h pawn is rolling off the board. Yeah, there's nothing he can really do to stop it. There's no way he can really push these two pawns, 2 versus 2. And yeah, it was just impossible. It's very difficult to play with black and defend this position. So I ended up winning this one. Okay, next lesson to be learned. I was tired. So in the last two games, I made huge mistakes, like you will not believe. So let's go. d4, c6, c4, d5, knight c3, knight f6, developing pieces, bishop g5, e6. Okay, this is very simple. This is a Queen's Gambit decline structure. Bishop e7, knight f3, h6. Okay, kicking out the bishop. Now I take back. C takes on d5, c takes on d5, bishop d3, b6. Okay, I'm going a little bit fast just so we get to this point. A rook c1, but really smart. I like this move. I would do the same thing if I am playing playing white. Knight c6, castle, bishop b7, a3, castle. Okay, bishop e1, knight e7. So my point is to defend this square, right? I think his idea is to get in here with the queen. That's why he retreated the bishop. Now rook c8, e4, d takes on e4, bishop takes on e4. And I completely lost my mind. I just was, I don't know, I have no words. I sacrificed my rook because in my head I was calculating that he takes back with the rook and I win this bishop, but this bishop is also hanging, so I don't know what I saw. I don't know what I saw at the time. I thought maybe this was undefended, but he doesn't even have to take with the rook. So I completely lost it. Okay. Bishop take, so the pawn can take. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this and just pretend that I know what I'm doing. which I'm not. And I ended up defending the draw with this game, so I'm gonna show you the end game I ended up having. Just gonna go here. We traded all pieces. So now, just think about it. 3 versus 4. He has 3 versus 4 on this side of the board. Knight and knight. Now he has an advantage with the rook, just to be clear. But how he has to prove the advantage. So bishop e6, and after I take this pawn, after I get rid of this pawn, he will never be able to push it and win on this side of the board. I ended up drawing this game, right? With perfect technique. I think this is a draw. And yeah, he can never. We traded all pawns, and I was actually playing for a win. But it was just like, okay, let's just choose an end game, something that I can defend. So this is the last round, and I could have fought for a prize in this one. I saw this line with playing with black, and I really liked it. You might like it because it's really solid. So okay, now we're gonna play the Caro-Kann e4 c6. Give me a second here. I have to change him. Okay, now d5. Then he plays d4. Okay, now you can take this pawn. He's gonna take back with the knight. And what I want you to do is challenge immediately this knight. Okay, most likely he's gonna take. Perfect. You just take back with the e pawn. And now this is important to remember where the pieces go. So he's gonna develop his knight. Bishop bishop d6. So first your bishop, you get your bishop out. Then he's gonna play something like bishop d3, castle, and you are perfectly fine. You're solid here. Now you can get your bishop out. For example, bishop g4. And what I want you to do is just observe these two pieces, the knight and the rook. The rook is gonna go here to e8, and the knight, you're gonna reroute it and put it here on f8. That is the whole point, because now he might have some ideas. He might have some ideas of pushing the c pawn. I think he misplayed a little bit this, but okay. Putting this pawn here, the bishop and the queen. That is the whole idea, right? Alignment of the bishop and the queen. That is why you want to get your knight over here. So okay, queen c8. I didn't remember, and I didn't know exactly if he could sacrifice the bishop here, even though this pawn, yeah, this pawn is defending this square, is completely fine. But I didn't want to trade pieces, so but it's fine. It's queen c8 is an inaccuracy. So c3, rook e8. Now you get your rook to e8, fighting for this file. He plays rook e1. I think he was playing very drawish moves. Rook takes on e1. Okay, bishop takes, knight e7, and now you get your knight here, protecting this pawn on h7. So okay, bishop e2, knight f8, queen d3, an inaccuracy, bishop f4, and I figure here that I don't have to take, right? I can play something like bishop f5. He has to move the queen, and it's gonna be kind of misplaced. Okay, so queen c4. Now I can play b5 and queen b3, right? So I guess I was like, okay, I'm gonna trade. But before, I can also get some advantage, some piece activity with my queen. So if he takes, okay, I just take, and I should be slightly better. Now rook e1, and I was like, I'm just gonna put the rook here and go for this idea, bishop f4, bishop g4, not f4. So he plays c4, and yeah, the most solid move was to play bishop f4, and I thought about it for like 5 minutes. I was like, there's nothing else, is it? Because now I can also take twice, and he has this back rank problem, right? I think if this, maybe I'm gonna calculate here, but if this queen wasn't defending this square, I think in some lines I can even take this knight, and he has to take with the pawn, right? So there is some pins here. There's some strange pins. So okay, now I completely lost my mind. I don't know why. I was tired. I could not physically sit down in the chair, so I was kind of rushing the moves, and I sacked my rook for no reason. So I sacked my rook I think I hallucinated for a second that I can just give a check here and there was a back rank, but no, there's nothing there. So I give a check here and I take the pawn, and I could not defend this endgame to save my life. It was just really difficult. Even though I got rid of these 3 pawns, it was just a pain. It was just a pain to defend, and I could not do it. So yeah, I think my advice here is also the secret of chess. Play safe and solid moves, especially when you are tired like me. You're tired. Let's just not calculate. Let's not overcomplicate it. Let's just make a move easy. What is the easiest move to see? Okay, bishop g4. Let's just take the here twice, and now he has to solve the problem of the back rank.